Welcome back to Cityline. Did you know that we have an organization here in Tacoma called the RAIN Incubator? Well, if you don't know this, you're about to find out what it is. So please join me in welcoming Dr. David Hirschberg. You are the CEO and Executive Director of RAIN Incubator. Welcome to Cityline.
Great to be here.
With you, you brought Kelvin Penn. You are the Manager of Community Outreach. Welcome, Kelvin.
Thank you so much.
So can I call you David?
Absolutely.
Okay, so David, first of all, before we start, what does the RAIN in RAIN Incubator stand for?
So it was a late night acronym for a grant that I came up with, and it's called, and I was working for the DoD at the time, and the military has all kinds of acronyms. So it stands for Readiness, Acceleration, Innovation Network. And it was designed as a network incubator to bring people together that are interested in working in biotechnology and entrepreneurship.
Wow. Okay. So what is it? What does it do?
Well, so we are Readiness. We teach very fundamental things here. So our goal is to train people with their hands to really work in all things biotechnology. And so when you think of even making something like beer, those are organisms that make your product. And if you can make beer, you can make medical products. And so really how all the biotech industry started in Seattle were people building things with their hands, getting organisms to do things for them. And so we want to teach very fundamental things so that you could do something as simple as making beer or a protein, but you could also pivot that to human research or environmental research. And so we don't tell people what to work on. We actually want them to come here with their passion, and we train them with basic tools so that they can go out and go after what they want to do.
That is amazing. And the beer analogy, I'm still hung up on the beer analogy. I mean, my brain actually went to, so if I can do brownies, is there a beer and a brownie cooking, baking connection there?
Yeah, we have a commissary kitchen in our place, and you know that's very exciting when people are making stuff, making food. It's very easy to switch that to biological products. Remember, biotechnology is getting organisms to do very useful things for you. So whether it's yeast or bacteria or human or insect cells, it's really all essentially the same fundamental things.
Yeah, it's alchemy and science, isn't it?
There you go. Yeah.
So David, you mentioned you were up late at night, you were writing a grant, you gave it the name of RAIN, or that's how RAIN came out of that. You are also the founder and you are the catalyst of the RAIN Incubator. So what was the inspiration for creating it beyond that grant name?
Well, my frustration was with the education system. And so, currently we teach a lot of people how to do things online. And we also teach them how to do trade and jobs for basically established organizations. So electricians learn for union jobs, or pipe fitters. Biologists are trained online. Nurses are trained to do nursing the way nursing's done today, or the way a hospital wants it. And I'm more interested in training people to be more entrepreneurial. What are things going to look like 20, 50 years from now? And so I learned quite late in life that the best product that a company can make is a person. And so we want to train our people so that they are constantly in demand and are able to go out and get jobs, hopefully stay locally. And we want to build all kinds of widgets, but those widgets become obsolete. People don't.
When I was raising my daughter, I used to always say to her, people don't get fired because they can't work computers. People get fired because they can't get along with people.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I totally get it about the best product you can have is a person. So why Tacoma? And Calvin, I want you to add to this once David starts.
Yeah. Well, I grew up in Tacoma, so this is my hometown. I have to admit, I wanted to get out of here pretty bad once I graduated from high school, but I missed it. Living other places, you learn to appreciate the things that are good, and so I returned to Tacoma in 2014 to University of Washington Tacoma, and so I have been here ever since, and I love this place, and I think it's got a lot of potential.
Kelvin, for you as the manager of outreach, you're in this community.
Yeah.
How do you think Tacoma responds to the RAIN Incubator?
I think it's been very positive. RAIN's been it's been here for quite a bit of time now, and it's been able to not only bring in people underneath its wing, but also help people out where they're supposed and meet them where they're at, essentially. It's funny because when David said that he wanted to really get out of here after high school, I was kind of in the same boat too. And similar to myself, I realized, hey, this is a really cool area. It's got a lot of potential. There's a lot of smart people here, and there's just a few things that need to be put into place to really take it to the next level, in my opinion.
I love that. I too wanted to get out of here as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Only two. So, David, what kind of educational opportunities do you offer students?
Well, we actually we do a lot of outreach even with, with small, like middle schools. I mean, we want to get people thinking about science. We want to teach people how to do critical thinking. And that we need that more than ever right now. And so we start out young, but we also do a lot of community involvement. I look at what we do as blue collar biotech. These are essential things that you need to do to run everything. And so we do a lot of community outreach. We have girls who code. We've been doing that. We get people in the lab and training. So we take volunteers and hopefully then move to paid positions. And then we also train undergraduates, graduate students, and I have, I am looking for some postdocs right now, so postdoctoral fellows. So really at any level we can do this, and we really want people that have one foot in the community already doing stuff, and then we can train them and we can be that reach back lab to give them a little deeper understanding of the science and also the tools and expose them to a community of smart people locally, but also worldwide.
So Kelvin, what would you add to that?
I would say essentially, and even just past the educational level, RAIN is an opportunity in my opinion, and I could speak on that firsthand. I work here. I also have my own company as well too. Working with David and underneath here, I've been able to fine tune a lot of my skills with that. A lot of people that I know are musicians, entertainers, and so RAIN has offered us, and we've been able to use the facility for performances, for little cocktail mingles, things just like that as far as networking goes, and just putting out your own product. And that's not just in those fields, but quite a bit of fields, and that's what the incubator and that stands for.
David, did you imagine rock bands and cocktails that night?
I think you did.
Well, I'm enjoying it now. I haven't always been so popular in the art and music centers. I've mostly been kind of geeky. And so it's really fun to be able to surround myself with all these talented people. And then, I have to remind people that, if you're an accountant or a communicator, that's also part of science, to be able to get that out there. I was never trained to do these skills, and I just wasn't taught to communicate. I was taught to be a scientist, and so part of that is to train people in science communication, in outreach. Like I said, I go to schools, and I'm like, if you want to be an accountant for a biotech company. You can be an electrician for a biotech company. You can be the maintenance guy for a biotech company, and it can be very fulfilling. I mean, Elon Musk is going to be hiring people to go to Mars, right? And you need to do all those things on Mars. So there's a huge area where we need all kinds of skills, and we've got to work together as teams.
Time flies when we're having fun. I have about 3 minutes left. So Kelvin, I want to throw a hypothetical question at you here. So let's say I have an amazing biotechnology idea or a project, and I want to lease some space in the RAIN Incubator. What services do you offer? How do I go about doing that?
Yeah. And that really depends on how you want to go about it. Again, as much as we like to be uh, the people to come to when you have an idea, it also helps a lot of times if you have your own idea and then you want to help expand upon it, essentially. But here, we offer lab space. We also offer. We're working on building up our own media outlet station as well too. So when it comes to like having to maybe even publish or go public with information that you might want to do, we can help you out with that also. Um, Equipment as well as just intelligence and just knowledge as well too.
You know, the RAIN Incubator is an opportunity to just create. It's that genesis of an idea, isn't it?
Yes.
So, David, where do you see RAIN Incubator in the next 5 years, given where we are right now with COVID?
Well, I hate to say this, but COVID has been good to us in the sense that we're able to, that readiness means we're ready for anything. And so we responded very quickly. We stayed open. We developed assays to detect COVID in people and in the sewage systems. We developed antibody tests, and then we turned around and compared it to other stuff that was on the market. And RAIN actually in the last year has licensed out technology to large companies. So we have a diagnostic company, one of the world's largest ones called Neogen, that is doing our sewage testing, and we gave that to them essentially. And then we're setting up a clinical lab that's going to do COVID testing here in Tacoma. So this is a resource we didn't have, and now this lab is going to do this. And so from my standpoint, these are the kinds of things we can do. 5 years from now, I want us to be an institute. I'm looking for funding where we can endow scientists to do work. And what I'd like to see is, I honestly feel that we could be something like the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Institute. We would be more general in biology and biotechnology, but we would be this asset for Tacoma that would train people and throw off jobs to our community and hopefully attract new companies to this area.
Well, from your mouth to every donor's ear. How's that?
Yeah.
Last question for both of you, given prospectively what you do within your organization, who would you like to thank? And Kelvin, let's start with you.
I want to start. For me, it's going to be a little more personal, right? But a lot of people. So my company name, Couch Surfers, and everybody underneath that. Which would be Taryn Roche, who also works here, and Brian Veal, who are my two partners. Obviously, I want to thank my mother. She's big into education as well, and she's a big reason for who I am. All my family, my brother as well too, who is also an educator. And honestly, I really want to thank David for actually giving me the opportunity to do what I'm doing here. I believe wholeheartedly in everything that RAIN is doing.
That is beautiful. David, What do you want to add to that?
Well, I always forget, but my wife, Morgan, is amazing. She puts up with a lot. I do a lot of hours here, and she's very patient. And of course, my mom and dad, who are in California and who I would have been visiting a lot if this hadn't been COVID. And but I really, the people here at RAIN really make our place amazing. I mean, Kelvin's been part of that. We have an incredible group of people that hopefully the community is going to see. A lot of people in the community really stood up for us in the last year. I couldn't have done what we could do with people like Victoria and our mayor, Marilyn Strickland, Jim Waldo. There's been there's a number of people you never see behind the scenes that have really been working together to make us very successful. And so the county, the city, Bruce Stanmeyer and his group of people, we've just had so much outpouring. And then not to mention the schools that we have done some community testing in, the people at the wastewater treatment plant where we can go test. So everybody's really come together during this. If they've reached out to us, we've been able to build some really strong bonds, and we're going to leverage off this. Coming out of COVID, we are going to be really, hopefully, a bigger force in the community helping out going forward.
I love that. Thank you both so much for taking time to be with me today. And I want to have you back on the show sooner than later, so don't make me chase you.
Okay, sounds good.
And we're right down the street, Amanda.
All right. Well, that wraps up another great segment of Cityline. It is always a pleasure and a privilege to be in your home. Zooming from my kitchen, we've given you a lot of great things to think about in this past hour. And as always, we are still in this together. So wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your gatherings small, keep yourself socially distant. And when you do that, come on back. We'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Tacoma, that's my home, place I call my own. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Oh, you're from Seattle, oh, you're from LA, oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay. Oh, you're from Seattle, Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home, from the fires to